Don't try to sneak into your room like that. I know what you've got behind your back. Records. More new records.
Hi there, let's unbox the new Joe Strummer and the Mescaleros Deluxe box set. This looks really exciting. I'm excited to open this. But before I open this, let's talk about Joe Strummer and let's talk about The Clash, okay? I've been collecting Clash records since The Clash came out. I'm a huge, huge Clash fan. So, sometimes I think people go on camera to show you their records. There's something so lame about that. I'm sorry. I mean, I understand it. I like doing it. But on one level, it's like, okay, these are my records. Fine. What are your records? Okay, these are your records. I'll show you mine. You show me yours. It's like, but I've been doing this a really long time. And if I wasn't the first person to do this, I was one of the first. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Something's weird about it. But I'll show you my Clash collection because that's what people enjoy this. I see the numbers. Judging by the numbers, people really like seeing these records. So I'm going to hold up the singles, the Clash singles, not in any particular order. So this one is White Man in Hammersmith Palace, and the other side is The Prisoner. Boy, I bought every one of these when they came out. Every single one. Here's the Clash Train in Vain, Bank Robber, Rockers Galore, Mikey Dread. Here's Tommy Gun from the second Clash album with Crush on You. These things tend to sound very good too, by the way. Here's Clash City Rockers and Jail Guitar Doors. I love the artwork on this stuff. These guys, at that point in time, they had it together as a group musically and in terms of what they looked like and their whole image. So here's another Jailhouse Doors and Clash City Rockers. It's another British CBS pressing of it. It was $1.85 wherever I bought this. $1.85. All right, here's Know Your Rights and First Night Back in London. And here's White Riot, 1977. Boy, that record. So this is 1977, White Riot, and what's on the other side of this? I should know what it is. 1977. That's what it is. Okay. Here's a EP. This is the Cost of Living EP. I Fought the Law, Groovy Times, Gates of the West, Capitol Radio. Produced by The Clash, Bill Price. Bill Price was a great engineer for this band. Tape operator Jeremy Green, recorded in Highbury New Park. Extra high vocal Dennis Ferrante, harmonica Bob Jones, cover design. Anyway, get the best results by always using New Clash. It's a record. It's a soap detergent. And I love the pictures. And of course, I Fought the Law. They were well into that song. So this is at Gates of the West, Capitol Radio, and of course I Fought the Law, which is a Sonny Curtis song, and Groovy Time. This is an EP, and I've got, for some reason, I have 2 copies of this because I guess you can never have too much Clash, right? All right, there's that. And here's Complete Control and City of the Dead. And here's this is a bootleg of some kind on Neat Records. So it's The Clash doing Listen, Capitol Radio, an interview with Tony Parsons and The Clash, engineered by Simon Humphrey. And they call it the Capitol Radio EP, but it's not really so. I haven't played this in a really long time, so I don't remember exactly what that is. And then here's, of course, It's a picture from 1984, and this is English Civil War and Pressure Drop, and the picture is from Animal Farm. It was a Animal Farm, the George Orwell parable about people and animals, and I don't know why we have to insult animals by comparing them to people. The animals don't need that kind of crap. All right, that's that, and there's one more here. Oh, there's two more. This is the Call Up. The Call Up. I think in Russia they're getting a picture of this now, right? They just got called up. They just got called up, and this was done for the campaign for nuclear disarmament. No draft. Call Up by The Clash. Yeah, as I was saying, the Russians are kind of they got a call up going on. People don't like it there. All right, I don't like it too political. Well, you got to get somewhat political if you're talking about The Clash, right? Because they were very political. So here's a Remote Control and London's Burning live versions in mono for the first time. And I don't know how rare this is, but probably is. Although it says stereo. Okay, Remote Control, it says stereo, and London's Burning is in mono for the first time. Okay, so those are the singles that I have, and I'm going to clean them. I haven't played them in a real long time. I'm going to clean them and play them. Let's do the Clash albums, okay? Why not? We'll do them in order. So here's the first UK album. This is the one to have sonically, and I like the track order. The American one is somewhat different. Americans, I don't know, Columbia just screwed this up badly. So this is an original. The sound on this record is absolutely fantastic. Even though there's a lot of tracks on here, the sound on this record, it crackles and just jumps right out. Yeah, it's great. Janie Jones, Remote Control, I'm So Bored with the USA, White Riot, Hate and War, That's My Name, Deny, London's Burning, Career Opportunities, Cheat, Protex Blue, Police and Thieves, 48 Hours, and Garageland. I remember once I moved into a house, and someone, older woman, came walking by, and she somehow knew what I did for a living. She goes, "Oh, you got to meet my son. He's a policeman in town, and I think you two would get along." And I'm thinking, really? Okay. And then she goes, "Oh, he's really into music." I said, "Okay, really?" So I did meet him because my mother-in-law backed her car into another car across the street, and a police car had to come to do the accident report. And the cop who came was this particular cop who grew up down the block from me. And so he said, "Yeah, I heard about you." He said, "I got a stereo." I said, "What do you got?" He said, "I have Magnapans and a pair of Adcom amplifiers." And, oh, he's serious audiophile. So I said, "Why don't you come downstairs?" I'm thinking, what have I got downstairs that I could get arrested for, But everything was put away at that point. Now it's legal, which is great. But anyway, he came downstairs, and I said, "So what do you want to hear?" He said, "Let me hear Police and Thieves by The Clash." I swear to God, that's what he wanted to hear, Police and Thieves. So I played it for him. And, my system was really rocking at that point in time. So we've been friends ever since. In fact, I'm choking. In fact, I did a profile of him in the New York Times, an article about vinyl in 1995. I think you can find it if you go to the New York Times archives. Because what happened was he came down, he'd gotten rid of all of his records when he was a kid and was all into CDs. And when I played him this record, he went, "That's the sound. That's the sound I've been missing. That's what I've been missing. It's records. Oh my God, what a mistake I made." And then he started collecting records. He became a total fanatic. And, he had an unfair advantage over the rest of us because he could, go down the street when there was a garage sale, put on the bubblegum thing above the police car and pull a, "Got any records?" And, of course, they would sell him records. He really did that a few times, I think. Anyway, this was 25 years ago. We remained friends all this time, which is great. He's retired now and a really good guy. Anyway, first Clash album. I have 2 copies of it. You never can have too many copies of the Clash's first album. That's that. And here's a Japanese pressing of it, which is very nice. I don't remember. I think the British one is still better. Here's an interesting Japanese record that came out. This is called Pearl Harbor, The Clash, 1979. And it's a Japanese record. What you think about Pearl Harbor, and in Japan they released a record called Pearl Harbor 1979. That's pretty interesting. So this one has all kinds of... Oh, look what's in here. I forgot about all this stuff that's in here. Let's talk about this for a second. So this one has Clash City Rockers. It's got all the songs on that other one, plus a bunch of singles that were probably the ones that were on the American version that were not included on the British one, because the British ones don't usually have the singles. So this has all the singles that were on that were not released in the UK on the album, plus everything that was on the British one, and everything that was on the American one, and of course sounding much, much better as I recall it. And also in here is this single. It's a Japanese 45 wrapping with Groovy Times and Gates of the West, which I also have. I showed you that before. Anyway, I have not played this version of this record in quite some time. Now it's getting me all excited to go play all of these records, which I haven't played in a really long time. I even forgot this was in here, actually. But there it is. Frayed Scotch tape. All right, and then, of course, as with Japanese records, there are... there's this cool insert, and it's got all this writing. It's got the lyrics, many of which are completely garbled and funny to read, but it's also got everything in Japanese, and a great picture of Joe Strummer. And he just reminds me of Humphrey Bogart in a lot of pictures. He really reminds me of Humphrey Bogart in that picture. You know, it's a great picture. They had the whole thing going back then. It was like such a relief to have this excitement after years of boredom. Oh, and then you get this. I have no idea what that means. You know what that means? I have no idea. All right, so that's Pearl Harbor. And of course, maybe one of the reasons I don't take it out and play it a lot is because there's a lot to contend with to get this to come out of here. All right, I'm going to be very carefully put this back into here. Pearl Harbor, The Clash, 1979. All right, now, moving on with our Clash. So then there's the second. Well, this is actually this is a bootleg of some kind. It's got Career Opportunities, White Riot, Janie Jones, London is Burning, 1977. Listen, 1-2, I Got a Crush on You, Pressure Drop, which of course, as many of you know, is I think it's Toots and the Maytals did it originally. It was in the Heart of the Come soundtrack. The Prisoner, Capital Radio, Interview, produced by Guy Stevens, recorded at Polydor, 1976. Anyway, I think this is a bootleg. I haven't played this in a long time either, but I thought it was a really cool jacket, so that's why I bought it when it first came out. Okay, the second album. This was the album produced by Sandy Pearlman, who's better known for producing another group that you know. But anyway, this is not their best record. Over time, I like it more and more. But it's not a great sounding record, and there's some good songs on here, but I thought it was kind of like this was a pathway. This is one of those pathway. You know, Neil Young used to say, you just got to keep making records. You can't stop. So you'll make a good record, then you'll make a bad record, then you'll make another good record. If you don't keep making records, including the bad ones, you never get to another good one. So this is, I think over time I like this record more, but it's not my go-to Clash album, but anyway, it's a Japanese pressing and a UK pressing. I avoided the American versions. At Columbia Records, they didn't know how to do rock and roll. They did not do a good job with the Elvis Costello records or the Clash records. So anyway, now we get to the double London Calling. This is, to me, is the epitome of the Clash. This is the great Clash record as far as I'm concerned. Musically and sonically. Sonically, you know what I forgot to... I've got a bunch of 12-inch singles by The Clash, British 12-inch singles. I forgot to pull those out. I'm not going to go back and pull those out, but they're here, and they're really good. So this is the original. Look, they sold it for £5. Double record set, spectacular sound, and the first pressing of this has all the writing on the inner sleeves. So that would be the first pressing. also I have in here, I'll show you something else I have in here, and that is this. This is the book for Rude Boy, which is a movie about the Clash that was done. It's about a young man in Britain who followed the Clash around, and the Clash allowed this cinematographer, documentary cinematographer, to follow them around with this guy who was a huge fan. And the discography at this point, there wasn't much. And there's a little story about the guys in the band, a little discography. So I have this because I cut the national trailer for the movie. So I was able to see the footage, watch the movie, get the footage, get a whole film, and chop it up to make a trailer for a couple minutes. That was fun. You don't think that was fun? So they gave me this book. I had 2 of them. So, and I also had the Rude Boy T-shirt. So I gave a poster, a Rude Boy poster, and one of these, and a Rude Boy T-shirt to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And in exchange for that, they invited me to the opening concert. When they opened the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I went to the opening concert, and it was worth giving them that stuff to go to the opening concert. It was really a fun concert. Anyway, that's that. London Calling. And then I have a second pressing. So this is the second pressing, not that much later afterwards. And in this case, they had a 1-sheet. They cheapened it a little bit. I mean, they charged £5 for that deluxe double set. So now they cheapened it a little bit, and they put in this insert with all of the lyrics and the photos and everything. And this does not sound quite as good. I don't know why that is. It's not a hot stepper, but it still sounds good. But I would definitely, if you want to get a copy of this record, make sure you find one with the £5 sticker on the front that has the insert, the sleeve with the writing on it. Okay. Here's a Japanese pressing of it. Also, very good. I think the British one is just the best, though. It's a really great recording. It's an audiophile quality recording, that record. So they had everything going on. I went to see them when they were touring to support this record. I went and I saw them at the Santa Monica Civic Center with my girlfriend at the time. And she was wearing a Boy Scout uniform. She had a Cub Scout uniform. That's what she was wearing, a Cub Scout uniform. And I was so straight at that point in time. And so she wanted to bring weed in with her, bring a joint in with her. And I said, no, we shouldn't. Let's not. They could frisk us at the door. I want to see this concert. I don't want to have them go through our stuff and find weed, and then they won't let us into the concert. I said, rather go to the concert straight and get stoned afterwards than go to the concert with a joint and get kicked out before it starts. I mean, how bad would that be? So we go to give the guy our ticket, security guard at the Santa Monica Civic Center. My girlfriend pulls out her ticket, and along with the ticket comes a joint. A joint comes out and falls on the floor. I couldn't believe it. And so she bends down to pick it up, and the security guard or the cop puts his foot right down on the joint. I go, okay, everything I was warning her against, everything I said was going to happen, is going to happen. I was going to kill her. So he lifted his foot up and moved his foot away, and she bent down and picked up the joint, and he smiled and let us walk in. So a good ending to that story. All right, here's a Japanese pressing, and it's also very good, as I recall. I got to go back and compare these when I have some time to do that. Okay, that's that. Here's Sandinista. This is the original UK, which has 3 records in it, and look, most groups don't have 2 good records to give you. With the Clash, London Calling was 2 good records in there to give you. That was no filler on that record as far as I'm concerned. It was a great record. This one's got plenty of filler. You could turn this into a 1 record or a 2 record good record set. Really fantastic recording, though. Absolutely spectacular. You play Hitsville UK, which of course is a kind of a tribute to Hitsville, USA, to Motown. The sound on this record a lot of it is really, really great. this is a record you put on when you have a lot of time or you want to skip through it, but the British original is the one to have. And it's got, I don't even know if the American one has all this stuff in it. I don't recall. All right. So, you know, this is the original band. Mick Jones on guitar, Joe Strummer, and Topper Head on, and Paul Simon on. Recorded and mixed by Bill Price. Production The Clash. Version mix, Mikey Dread. Mikey Dread mixed a lot of their stuff. Recorded at Wessex, and some of it Electric Ladyland, and anyway, Pluto and the Power Station. So they cared about good sound. They really cared about good sound, and they usually had really good sound. All right, now we get to the latter days of the Clash, not the latter days of the Mormons, but the latter of the Clash. So this was probably combat rock. This is a Japanese pressing. This was getting to the end of the road here. It wasn't a great record, but it had good, you know, Should I Stay or Should I Go as probably one of their most popular songs, and Rock the Casbah. So it's actually a better record over time, but when it came out, I remember thinking, okay, these guys are just about, they're done. They've done a great job for the number of years that they were around, so that's that. Then I have the Story of the Clash. This is like a compilation 2-record set. I think this is either a Czech Republic or a Polish pressing. It looks like I think it was pressed before it was called GZ Media. It was called something else. This was licensed by Globus, and it's in Lodentz. It says pressed by, I can't pronounce it, but it was in Lodentz, and I think that's where GZ Media is. And of course, it wasn't called GZ Media back when this was made in the, I think this is from the 80s. And I haven't played it in a while, but it looks like a nice pressing, and probably from a digital source, I guess, even at that point in time. But I got it. I'll keep it. And Cut the Crap. And they weren't kidding. So this is only, you know, this has only got 2 guys from the original band. You know, Mick Jones left, and I don't want to get into the whole history of the interpersonal relations and the drama, but I don't think I ever played this record. I played it once in a while. It's not a great record. And then there's a 1979 live album, From Here to Eternity. This is a British pressing. No, this is 1999. Excuse me, 99. It's worth it for the pictures alone. The pictures are great. And I haven't played this in a long time either, to tell you that, to be honest with you, I love when people say that. You know, to be honest with you, what they're saying is, you know, mostly I lie to you, but now, I'll be honest with you. Okay, and then I have the 2 Black Market Clash. This is the original Black Market Clash with Capital Radio, The Prisoner, Pressure Drop, Cheat, City of the Dead, Time is Tight, Bank Robber, Rubber Duck, Armageddon Time, and Justice Tonight. Kick It Over. This is the original, and then it was reissued as an expanded thing with 2 records.
Sharon Frimmer.
My wife is calling. Excuse me. I'll be right back after this message. Let's talk about Joe Strummer and the Mescaleros before I open the box. I did a little research on Joe Strummer because honestly, I tend not to look into people's personal lives and history, but in this case I decided, since I'd never done that, it would be a good idea to do that. And, you know, I'm going to read this because I didn't absorb it and memorize it, but I found it interesting. First of all, the Mescaleros were a group that Joe Strummer named after a movie, a Western American movie. He definitely was into American culture, as you know. And in fact, I think he also plays on a Joe Ely record. In fact, I'm going to look for that record right now. I'm going to just get up and I'll be right back. Somehow I think there's a relationship between Joe Strummer and Joe Ely, and I'm going to look it up here. What is the relationship? Oh, yeah. Special thanks to The Clash. I knew there was some connection here. I haven't played this record in forever also. So, let's see. Let's see what it says. I'm going to double check this. The Joey Lee Band. This is a really good record, by the way, if you ever see this record. This is a British pressing. There's an American pressing. This was recorded in the UK, so I assume this isn't really the original. You know what, special thing? I'm going to play this again soon. I have to. I play this in a... There's a great song. My fingernail... The first song, my fingernails click when they hit the keyboard. It's a really rocking song. Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent. So, you know, you can always play this... Like that guy who comments on every one of my videos and says if you run it at double speed, you can do a lot more. You know, I'm sure he watches Gone with doing it at double speed and all of his favorite movies at double speed because then you can do more. But anyway, I have not said at any rate once in this whole video. Not once have I said at any rate. At any rate, no, okay. So the Mescaleros was a British group and that Strummer put together to record they made 3 albums. And so many people were in this band. There's a whole list of people that ended up being in this band. I'm not going to talk about it. But, you know, Strummer died in 2002 at a young age of a congenital heart defect, which is just really, he was really great. So we'll open the box and see what's in it. And also, I did some looking around about his background. What an interesting background. I knew that his father was a diplomat of some kind. And, you know, he wasn't like a working class guy. That was a persona that he put on because it was of the time. That's what he did. But his real name was John Graham Mellor. He was born in Ankara, Turkey, and the son of a Scottish mother and an English father. And his father was an MBE. He was born in India. Anyway, his father worked as a railway official in India, and so he traveled a lot. He saw the world, and his father, through his father, he had an American great-grandfather and a German Jewish grandmother. I don't know, these Jews are all over the place. Wherever you look, whoever you meet, there's a Jew involved in it. I don't know. This could get cut out. YouTube could kill this because I said that. But frequently, when I go through talk about these people that you find online, and nothing about them would suggest any kind of Jewishness, and then all of a sudden you go and you see this. It's there. Anyway, I'll probably end up cutting this out, or maybe not. Anyway, so Joe Strummer had a very interesting background and loved rock and roll, like most of us. And Little Richard, the Beach Boys. I'm reading in Wikipedia what it says, and he called himself Woody for a while. And he said the Beach Boys were the reason why he actually played music. I think that's kind of cool. But I do want to say one thing. I'm going to just get it and say one thing. This Beach Boys box, this is the worst crap. I'm telling you, this is inexcusably crap. Not the compilation. The compilation's it's called The Sounds of Summer. It's a great compilation of Beach Boy tunes. You know, one of the problems with the Beach Boys is that the albums have a lot of filler, because the early records were not meant, you know, they were making singles for kids. They weren't making albums, but albums became the thing, so they had to fill up albums. So you have a couple of good songs, and then you have Hawaii, go to Hawaii, do you want to, you know, bad songs you don't want to hear. Anyway, this is a great compilation of songs, no doubt about it. Really good songs. And then it was remixed. You think In My Room needed to be remixed? Have you heard the Analog Productions version of In My Room? Those early records were spectacular sounding stereo mixes, and the songs that weren't in stereo, fine. So this was almost everything was remixed here, and remixed badly. I know Mark Linnett is in charge of the Beach Boy remix business, and he did a good job with Pet Sounds. Even though I think Pet Sounds, you know, my battery's going bad now. What a screw job. That's why the color's shifted, because the battery's going bad. And I still haven't opened the Mescaleros box. So let me change batteries. So before the battery ran out, I was ranting about this Beach Boys compilation. Nicely packaged, well pressed, and actually nicely sequenced. It's a really good sequence of tunes. interesting, but the sound is uniformly awful. And I understand some things may have been needed to be remixed, but the only reason why you'd remix the whole thing is for money. You don't need In My Room remixed. A lot of what's remixed on here sounds awful. And the liner notes, this is a group to be taken seriously, even though they're called the Beach Boys. So they got some sycophant, Beach Boy sycophant, to write these adolescent, stupid liner notes. Really, really shallow and lame. This never should have been. Whoever produced this box shouldn't have produced this box. You know, there's a really great movie about Brian Wilson that I saw on an airplane. Long Promised Road, I think is what it's called. And a journalist from Rolling Stone befriended Brian Wilson, and the two of them drive around and visit all of the places where he grew up, among other places. And they talk about his problems and his mental issues and the things that bedeviled him over the years in a really honest and mature way that any Beach Boys fan would really appreciate seeing, and that Brian opened himself up and allowed this to happen was really, really good. It's a wonderful movie. I recommend it highly. And then you get this, and this is like adolescent. It's just stupid. This could have been great, but instead of it being great, it's just bad. Don't buy this. Stream it. You can stream the tunes. I'm sure it'll sound bad. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. I appreciate you and me sending it to me, but not good. All right, let's get to the subject at hand. So Joe Strummer, interesting character. Born in Turkey. His father grew up in India, and he came back to America. He moved to South Wales. I'm just looking at some of this stuff. He stopped calling. He was calling himself Woody Meller for a while because of Woody Guthrie. Stopped calling himself Woody Meller and adopted the stage name Joe Strummer, and that became his name. And then, of course, the Clash came afterwards. A lot of people who were Clash fans did not follow him to Mescaleros. The Clash was the group, and Joe was off doing something else they weren't interested in. So here's the box. It's a beautifully... I hope that the liner... I get the sense the liner notes for this are going to be a lot more serious than that Beach Boys box. So let's open it together and see... cut our fingers together and see what we got here. Okay. This is actually put up by Dark Horse Records, George Harrison's record label, which is interesting. It's got all 3 studio albums, B-sides, demos, outtakes, never before heard tracks, exclusive book featuring unseen lyrics and art from the Strummer archive. Now, I am one of those people who did not pay a lot of attention to the Mescaleros and to what Strummer did after the Clash, and I'm looking forward to this because I have a feeling that I missed a lot of great music. So let's see. 1999 to 2002, and then on the back you get 3 records, and I guess there's a outtakes kind of thing. This is 2022 Cosmo Productions Limited under license to Dark Horse Records, and it's in a book-like presentation, which I really, really like. So this is remastered by Paul Hicks, and Paul Hicks has done some really great work. The John Lennon was really great. And as far as I'm concerned, some really misguided work on the George Harrison All Things Must Pass box, which I thought was just awful. I don't know what he was thinking. But the Lennon stuff was great, so we can hope that this also came out great. So here's what it looks like. It says, all that's happening for me now is just a chancer's bluff. I learned that fame is an illusion, and everything about it is just a joke. I'm far more dangerous now because I don't care at all. I like that. I like that a lot. So obviously, once the Clash simmered down, he felt he could just make music and not worry about the fame and the rock end of it. So this is a book that that comes with it, and this is called a typewriter for some of you young people who've never seen one of those things. Typewriter. And let's see what's in here. Oh, chords. Rode. CGD, 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 GCGD. I think we know those chords. And another song, Coma Girl. EB, 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 BA, BA. Not, this is, pretty simple stuff. All right, boy, this is nice presentation. And I'm not going to read this to you, but I'm looking at it. Don't be afraid to mix styles. Have an open mind to music. Make it interesting. We make it interesting for us. I think everybody who's a Clash fan and a Joe Strummer fan through the Clash knows that they mixed funk and jazz and blues and especially reggae and hard rock. This is definitely a fanboy extravaganza. There he is. The Clash as a band, they had the thing going. That was the real deal. They were not posers, even though clearly they were posers because they didn't come from working class backgrounds for the most part. Here it is, the tapes. Quantity $4.99, Grandmaster Gold. Rock and Roll and the X-Ray Style, released October 18th, 1999 on Hellcat Epitaph Records and Mercury Records in the UK. Recorded to tape. I feel bad that I didn't follow him through to this group. We will finish this record in time. Global Agogo, 2001. Also, tape. By 2001, you could have been cutting digital. You could have been recording digital. But no, he stuck with tape. I think there's something to that. And I'm just looking through it. I plan on reading all of this, and when I write the review, I'll go through all of what's in here. But I'm seeing, back in '73, when Joe came and lived with me, my collection of records was all world music, says Dog. I don't know who Dog is. You probably do know who Dog is, but I don't. Reaching middle age. These guys look tough. Streetcore, released October 21st, 2003, Hellcat Records. One song produced by Rick Rubin, mixed by Rick Rubin and David Ferguson. I'm glad I brought out the Clash albums because, you can't, one has to go with the other. Whether he's moving on from the Clash or not, one has to go with the other. This is a set list here for Brooklyn, First Night, London's Burning, Shakhtar Donetsk, Tony Adams, Bindi Boggy, Rudy, Coolin' Out, Global Agogo, Police and Thieves, Get Down Moses, Bummed Out City, White Man, Harder They Come, Mega Bottle Ride, Johnny Appleseed, I Fought the Law, Lose the Skin, Wild Side, Blitzkrieg Bop. All right, cover the Ramones. Then you got Vibes Compass, B-sides and rarities. And there's some DAT tapes here, some cassettes, and some reel-to-reel tapes. There's some demos in here. And another one of these. It's just going to be another chord progression, B-A, 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 A-C-D. Wow, look at this. Advice number 2. I guess he had like oblique strategies cards. Advice number 2, be mythic and prolific. I like that. Be mythic and prolific. All right, so that's the book. Here's Rock Art and the X-Ray Style. And this is Prestige GZ Media. Looks nicely pressed on standard weight vinyl. I'll show you. This is him doing notes about the running order and things he wants on the disc. Okay. Rock art in the X-ray style. 2 records. And then this is Global A Go-Go. So this is Global A Go-Go side C and side D. Okay, so they divided it up into each record is a double record set. I hope it sounds good. If you're going to go to that kind of trouble. And here's Get Down Moses. You got to get down Moses, part another C. Carve the message on the tablets of LSD. Okay. I didn't read that in the Bible, did you? You got to get down Moses. Once we were free, the recipe we're living is lost in memory. You got to get down Moses from the Eagles' Eyrie. Okay. This is grandmother's talking about Moses, you know. Okay. They did a deep dive into his stuff. Anyway, I'm not going to take out each of these. And then in the back there are the credits. This is a really nice presentation. If you're a Joe Strummer fan, Clash fan, this is a nice tribute to a serious creative force from the late 70s to the early 2000s when he died. Anyway, that's the Joe Strummer and the Mescaleros box set. Really nicely presented. And we're going to play it and review it in writing. And I'm glad I showed the Clash stuff to begin with. So that's it. And I'll see you at the Tracking Angle website. Okay? And subscribe, please. Thanks for watching.